Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is January 22nd. Welcome to my channel. Yesterday was quite an interesting day. We got bought up. We sold off. Then we tried to rally. And then Trump said he's no longer going to put tariffs on the EU. And the market shot up. The market shot up. Breaking the downtrend we were in. The near-term downtrend. So, nothing to see here. I've been talking about this, right? This is how Trump negotiates. He puts the extreme on everybody to then negotiate. And look, they came to some agreement and he took it off the table. This was like a dip buy for the markets. All right, we'll get into that in a little bit. Yesterday, oh my God, I was alive with a couple of community members. And boy, I was calling that sell off. Didn't have a setup though on that when we pushed up, that sell off. And then I did wind up getting a nice long later in the a little later in the session. Maybe I have to look at it. It might have been around 1 o'clock or something like that. Um, there was like a sweep, and I got in, and actually just missed my short. But then it dropped into where I wanted to get long, so I got long, and then that turned out to be a decent trade. Now, once I was out of that, I went for a walk, and when I came back, I was like, "What the heck happened?" My stop would have never been triggered. But then that's news that I didn't know that was going to happen, so that really doesn't matter. Needless to say, I had a decent trade, so can't complain, right? I only had one trade, one winner, so that was my day. All right, now let's get straight into it. Welcome to my channel. My name's Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets, long supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge, folks. Also use Anchor VWAPs, market internals, which is my bread and butter. The framework I use is Smart Money and ICT, but I put my own spin on them as well. That's really been benefiting my trading. Okay, making me more patient, very patient. Okay. Now, if you want to join me, please do so every morning. Subscribe, set that alert, give you the market story, the market news, economic calendar, leaders and laggards, basically what the market's do, why the market's doing what it's doing, technical analysis, and then I give you the long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and the ES futures. Okay. If you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. I will not steer you wrong. I give golden nuggets throughout the whole session, narrating and saying what can happen, what to look out for. Not sure who's in here that is in my community, but they can attest to me reading the market. Okay. And maybe you make some money too. I know a couple of my community members, based on yesterday, what I was talking about, saying that we could possibly sell off. I didn't have a trade set up, but a couple of the community members shorted while I was talking, and they made money. So come join. Please do. All right. Now, let's get into futures. Let's get into those futures watch lists here. Let's see what's going on there. Nasdaq, remember, the tech's been selling off lately, rotating out. Now, is this the rotation back in? If it is, this market's probably going to go to all-time highs. Okay, we'll have to see. Silver's back up 0.79, ES up 0.55, Russell's up 0.39, Dow's up 0.31, 10-year yield is up 0.24, 30-year bonds is flat. The dollar is basically flat, down 0.11. Bitcoin at 90K, down 0.14. Gold down 0.17. Ethereum down 1.30%. Crude is almost down 2%. The VIX is back to a 16, almost down 4.5%. Okay? Remember what I kept saying every day since the beginning of the week. Now that we know about the Greenland, it's priced in. Now that it's not even a tariff anymore, now it's a nothing burger. This market should move higher now. Okay, if anybody's a perma bear, right? Every time something like this happens, perma bears come out and start talking about, see what I mean? This is gonna blah 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 blah. See what I mean? And listen, we're going to have a big correction at in the future. It's gonna happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen. Nobody does. Okay? That's why you got stupid people that come out and try to predict the markets. And I don't care if you get it right. I don't care. Okay? But like I said, the markets, everything that someone can come up with right now, the market knows about. It's always the something we don't know about is what will take down the market. Just like Greenland. We didn't know about it. Took down the market. Now that was priced in. Now he's not doing tariffs, so the market can go back up. That's how it works. Okay? Max 7 Plus. Look at Meta. Look at my Meta. My Meta. Went all the way down to like 600. They just laid some people off. And I think this is going to run. I know the PE, I don't really look at that too much, but I keep seeing the PE is like one of the lowest of the Mag 7. So I'm liking this. Now, I'm not sure why it's getting that much of a boost, but let's see here. Nope. I don't know, but I'm liking it because I added to my position not too long ago. All right. Google also. Woo. That's a beast. Now, like I said, my feeling, I'm hoping that this happens. We're going to get some type of blow off top if we do go. And if we start really ramping up high, I'm going to trim a lot of my positions. I'm going to trim them because I'm up pretty much in every position I'm in. And I want to be able to trim them and, harvest that capital. So I'm hoping Meta, Google, I'm in a bunch, Tesla, Microsoft, Nvidia, Vertiv, like GV, like a lot of the plays that I'm in, I just keep wanting to go silver. So we'll see. Google's up 1.80. Broadcom had weakness yesterday, but that is up 1.76. AMD has been skyrocketing. Just got like KeyBank just gave it like the play of the year or some kind of play of the year. Well, I don't know if I can get into that, but I saw that earlier. KeyBank. All right. Tesla's up 1.20. Amazon up 1.16. Microsoft up over 1%. Coinbase, Nvidia's up. Apple, everything is up besides GE. GE reported earnings this morning. Maybe they were not great. They're down 1%. Okay. Moving on. Top sectors. Oracle's been battered and bruised. Getting love today, up 2.5%. Palantir's up 2%. Caterpillar's up over 1%. Now let's go to the laggard. Chevron, PepsiCo. Now Procter & Gamble reported this morning, so PepsiCo is probably in sympathy down with Procter & Gamble. Now look, energy is getting maybe profit take, maybe, whatever, because crude's pulled back. Okay? Now, granular list. ARM, a semi, up 5.5%. ASTS, what a monster. Up 5.70%. CoreWeave, I think this is Lemon. Alibaba's up. GameStop's up. Oklo, Datadog. All right. Who's down on this morning? Who is down? Abbott Labs. Abbott Labs is healthcare. They are down 5.66%. Rocket Labs is also down 1.67%, and Crocs, the footwear, down 1.5%. All right. Let's move on. Sectors. Semis is a beast this morning. Remember, that's usually a risk-on market when the semis are up. They're up 1.31%, followed by technology, up 1.09%. Communications, up 0.72%. So the heavyweights are all up this morning. Discretionary, up 0.43%. Financials, every heavyweight is up. Now, who's lagging? Healthcare is not lagging that much. Staples, and then the loser is energy. Now, energy does not move markets. Energy could do whatever it wants, It's literally only like 2.80% market cap weight of the S&P 5. It does not affect the market. Okay, so that does not mean much. Now, let's move on to the economic calendar for today. We do have some data coming out today. Okay, GDP coming at 8:30. That doesn't really move markets of the late. Initial jobless claims. Okay, now at 10 a.m. we have core PCE. That is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. Okay. Why is it not? I see. This is. I don't know why they don't give the headline in the two stars. I don't get it. I don't know why they do it. But all right. So core. Let's see. Year over year. Core. Here we go. Consensus is 2.8. Last time it was 2.8. Now it looks like we're getting both numbers, and that sometimes that doesn't happen. So we'll see. Now regular headline 2.8. Core 2. Oh, interesting. Both of them are 2.8. Interesting. All right. Now what else do we have today? We have some auctions. That's not going to matter. We have 30-year mortgage at 12 p.m. That's really it today. Now let's get into juice. Let's see if there's anything risk. Let's see. U.S. shares were set for a second day of strong gains as a relief rally over Trump's decision on Greenland continued. All right, bolstered by a surge of activity in the AI sector. Okay. We have today, 4:30 a.m. already happened. Trump signs Gaza peace charter. Let's see. That's about it. I don't see anything for Trump right now. Okay. Now, earnings calendar. Let's look at that. We have today reported Procter and Gamble, Freeport McMoran, GE, Abbott Labs, McCormick, all reported. Now, after the close today, Intel, Intuitive Surgical, Capital One, Alcoa, Alaska Airlines. Now, tomorrow before the open, nothing really that I care about. All right, that's it. I'm not going to really mention the earnings probably for the rest of the week now. Get back to news here. All right, Intel stock gained 1.2 ahead of chipmakers' quarterly results following the close of the U.S. markets. Procter & Gamble stock dropped 1.5% after the consumer goods giant posted second quarter net sales of $22.21 billion, just below consensus estimates. GE Aerospace stock rose, but now it's down 0.2 after the jet engine maker forecast annual profit above estimates driven by strong demand. Alibaba ADR surged 3.6. The Bloomberg reported that the Chinese e-commerce giant is laying the groundwork for a potential listing of its chip-making arm. Alphabet stock gained 1.9. The Raymond James upgraded its stance on the tech giant to a strong buy from Outperform, arguing that the company is entering a phase where its AI stack is shifting to high gear. All right, that's it for there. More news. Let's see. New trade map takes shape in Davos as world adjusts to Trump's tariffs. Surging memory chip prices dim outlook for consumer electronic makers. Curbs on Wall Street landlords could stoke house prices, say investors. All right, let's see here. All right. I think I'm done here. Now we go into internals. Internal recap, my bread and butter. Everything was green. Everything was green. So we started out very strong. Gave back the gains, right? Went back to the open. Went right back to the open. Okay. And this is not weak, folks. And then what happened? Trump talked. Boom. Market regained strength. Everything was green. Very strong numbers here. That makes sense. Okay. Like I said, I got long right here. Right here about. And then I took it all the way up to like here. and then it chopped around, and then, like I said, when I was on my walk, boom. All right, moving on to our daily charts. Let's move on to our daily charts. Alrighty. So, let's look at our SPY. Now, what did we do? Opened here, pushed down, could not take out the previous day's lows. We broke through the 50-day moving average. And then we went all the way up to the 9 EMA daily, the anchored VWAP for the year. 20-day moving average, 9 EMA daily. Look at that. We couldn't break into last week's range. We closed right below it. So you can see this double weekly lows here that we tried to pierce in. We couldn't, but pretty much there now. Okay. So we're right here now. 689.22. Right there. We're right at the anchored VWAP for the year. Okay. Into this gap. Now, what I would expect, we probably move up higher today. We'll see. All shorts should be removed now from the market. Okay. Let's look at futures. Futures, we got the anchored VWAP for the year. Same thing. 20 days simple moving average. But in futures, you can see this is last week's range, the orange bars. We're back inside last week. Okay. Back inside last week. Anybody who was short here probably took their last profits yesterday, and now it's a matter of, I think our destination is back. Okay. I definitely think we're headed up. Now, how does it do it? I don't know. Most likely it should be up. Right off the 100-day moving average in futures. In futures. Okay. Look, we couldn't take that swing low out. So now we're pushing up. Okay. We are in a very heavily traded area. And I'll get into that in the hourly charts. Okay. Qs. The Qs. Now look at the Qs. Hit the 100-day moving average. Close right on it the prior day. What did we do? Broke the prior day's highs. Went all the way up where? To the anchored VWAP of this year. 20-day simple moving average. 9 EMA daily. We did close within last week's range. We did close within last week's range. Kind of filled this gap if you're just talking about highs and lows. Futures, you filled the gap. Okay. Closed right on the 50-day moving average. That is a swing low now. Okay. So, I think we go higher, but let's see. 621.75. 621.75. We are gapping up all the way up here. Okay. Back into this balance. This sometimes will give you some problems in this area because it's a congestive area. But once you get through the middle of it, you should start to rise up. Okay. Be very hard to short this market now, unless there's some news that comes out. Let's go to futures. So futures, look at futures. Anchored VWAP from this year. This is very bullish. Okay. You swept this prior session right there. Whoop. That gave us the strength to go higher. And now we're at the 20-day simple moving average in futures. I think we want at least that swing high here, 26048. Okay. Back inside last week's range. So I think the expected move would probably be up here eventually. All right. That is your futures. Now, let's look at the breath. Smell that breath. Breath improved yesterday. Okay, we're back up almost to 70% of the market over simple day moving 50 over the 50-day simple moving average. Now, like I said, once we get into the 80, 85s, okay, you can see this is where market gets frothy. This is where the market gets frothy. So that's where I'm going to look to trim a lot of my positions when we start to get up into this area. Okay. Let's see. We'll see. Okay. That is it there, folks. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to get into the hourly charts now. And you'll see the levels that I'm talking about. All right. Boom. Hourly charts here. And I was saying this in my community yesterday in my Discord about what we did, specifically in the Nasdaq. Okay. So right here, I'm going to show you guys just about the trend. All right. So let's get our little trend tool out. I love how this really just gives you a nice look at the trend without looking at the candlesticks, and it just literally gives you the swing highs and swing lows. It's really nice. Okay, so if we pull that away to right here, right, I saying in my community, right, we're in a downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. This is where you get a market structure shift. Right there. Notice the market ripped up, made a new swing high. That was a market structure shift and broke this swing high. Now, what I'm saying in my community was all you need to do is have this swing low be secure and make a new swing low. And that's going to be bullish. Now look what we did. That was the long. That's where I kind of got long. Okay. And then what did we do? Look. Took out the swing high, made a new swing high, made a new swing low, new swing high. So this is now a market structure shift. It's confirmed. We should move higher now. We broke the downtrend. Okay? That right there, not taking that out, is bullish. This was the most traded price of the rolling year. I talked about that a lot yesterday, saying that that's going to be a hard level to push through. All right. Now, let's look at where we're at now. Okay, zoom in a little bit. Okay, so on an hourly chart, I just showed you we broke a downtrend. We're in an uptrend now. Okay, so, however, where we fell from, right? This gap is still not filled in the ES. Okay, you can see that swing low here. Very interesting. The month-to-date anchored VWAP is now flat, and it is now green because buyers are in control of the month again. Pretty crazy, but they are. There's the week-to-date VWAP is green. They're in control of the week. Okay? However, we're hitting the most traded price of the month right now, which happens to be around 69.56. Right there. That is being resistant right now. So this first test, it makes sense. It's having a little problem. Okay. Now, same thing as I talked to before. As long as this swing low right there is not broken, we should move higher because that just continues the trend. So if we do one of these, we could come up here and then continue higher. So if I want to get long, I wouldn't mind. There is a bullish fair value gap right here, hourly one. That's a big one. So that might get cleaned up. So that's why I didn't really put it on my chart, but I'm aware of it. It already caused some support here. However, this could do this, come back under, fall back, come back into here somewhere, and then it could do this, and then we can start trending up. This on the first test, generally you don't break it. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay? Now, as you know, on my 1 hour chart, I have a daily candle, which is right here, and a 4 hour. Okay, so the 4 hour right now is very bullish. That's like almost a hammer. The daily, look at that. We opened here, we pushed down, and then look, it's a bullish candle. Okay. All right, that's what I'm looking for in the ES. Now there is poor structure below here, but we all know once you're in a trend, it's all about those swing lows. And as long as you keep making swing lows, higher highs, higher lows, you're going to trend up. Okay. So buyers are back in control. Let's move on to the NASDAQ. Here's our NASDAQ. Same trend as I talked about. Now they broke the trend right here. Right there. The real market structure shift happened right there, even though you broke this swing high. Right? And what did they do? Secured the overnight low, was a swing low, and pulled back and couldn't take this out. Hence, boom, boom, boom. Okay? Now, same thing. The ES and the NASDAQ have the same thing. Now, this did fill the gap. There is no gap. It's filled. Now it's battling the most traded price of the month and the most traded price of this year. Now, the most traded price of the month is actually more powerful because it goes back, like, let's say it's rolling. So it's rolling back 30 days. The most traded price of this year is only for this year. Still, like, again, when 3 or 4 months down the road from now, that level will be stronger. But right now, that's just because. But they're together. Okay? You can see the sheer amount of trading that's gone on there. Like I said, same as the ES. I don't know if the first shot it can do it. I don't know. Okay? Even if we do this and do this, there's some poor structure here. You can pull back into this demand zone and this bullish fair value gap. As long as one of these hold, boom, boom, you can go like this and go up. And if money starts really rotating back into tech, yeah, our markets are going to go back to all-time highs. Okay? So right now, I'm kind of really biased long. Don't get me wrong. There's probably a short scalp to be had. Okay? That's your hourly charts. Okay. Let's move on to the market profile and the volume profile. Here we are. All right. Let's look at some levels here. Okay. So major demand here. All right. Remember, we're at the most traded price of the month. Month of the anchor VWAP is right here. It is now green. Buyers are back in control of the month, barely. It's a flattish VWAP. And we just took out all of this. So, like I said, I love the quote. Market usually does what you think it's going to do, but in the least obvious way. So I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't. Okay. We do have a poor high yesterday. Equal high. We do have a poor high in the overnight. That is begging to be broke. That is begging to be broke. We are still trying to fill this gap. We have not filled it yet. Okay, what a big session yesterday. Okay. Now, let's look at some levels. There's our big demand zone. Okay. There's our last week's lows, the close from yesterday. Most traded price of the month is where we're at. Most traded price of the overnight is where we're at. We're about 85 to 90% net long. I think we are begging to get pulled back, to correct. Not bearish, just correct. I would like to see us take out this poor high first. Then I think you can have a scalp short. All right, now we know this is a big level. We have a gap here. It's the most traded price of the month, of the rolling month. Okay. Overnight high, that's a poor high. Okay. That's what I'm really looking at. Now, the midpoint of yesterday, I think it's here, around 68.91. Okay. So, let's break out this session. And see. Oh, 10. Well, you're lucky. All right, go. Okay. Let's see what we got here. All right. So our overnight low, that's the swing low. Okay. So remember I said I'm biased long. We do have some thin volume here, so we are 85% net long about. So like I said, as long as this swing low stays intact, we should have higher prices. Not sure if that happens today. Remember, we do have core PCE coming out at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. So if there's a scalp short, possibly I might get involved in that if that happens prior to 10 a.m. Now, if nothing really, if I don't like anything, I'm going to sit and wait, let the dust settle at the 10 a.m. Okay? So let's just get right into it. All right? Scenarios. Now, I'm biased long. So, you just saw the hourly chart when I was talking about. Poor high here. I think that wants to be broke. And then I think profit taking should ensue. So, let's see. What I'd like to happen? Well, we break that poor high, try, and maybe we fill the gap. Then what I would think and what I want to happen would be profit taking. We come through the most traded price of the month and the most traded price of the overnight, come into this thin volume. That thin volume, if there's some weakness, should get cleaned up to when you get about to here into this demand zone. Then now you want to judge what we do here. We might have to sweep some level. I hope not this swing low. But let's just say we do this and we do this and we do that. Well, that is a long. All right. You are then going to target the real-time trading session out the high of the day, which should be here. Okay. Now, if we push up, pull back, you could go back to the most traded price of this year, around 69.90, the high volume node right there. Okay. That would keep the uptrend intact. Okay. The other thing that could happen is you just rip. Now there's a pocket of volume here. All right, you can just rip. Now what I would want if we ripped is to get some wick and to hold the most traded price of the month. Maybe get a sweep for me to go long to target that. Okay, those are my long scenarios. If I'm looking at a short, okay, and there could be a scalp short involved here, just like what I just said. Do the beginning of my bull scenario. Okay, so I think that poor high wants to get broken. It usually does. So again, I want to see this, a wick. Fill the gap. People take profits from the gap fill. Then we get a lower high put in retesting the most traded price of the month, 69.56. If you pierce the 69.50, that's the most traded price of the overnight like this, it's going to cause a flush into this demand. That should be a profit take somewhere in here. I don't know how deep we go into this. There is some poor structure, so we can go into here. Anywhere in here is a profit take. I don't trust it. Now, maybe you test the overnight lows. I'm not sure. If it's super bearish and we take out that swing low, that is a different story. If we take that out and start holding, this can all be given back. I don't know if that happens. Okay? That's only short I'm interested in. If we're up here, I'm not interested much in a short unless I see something else intraday. Okay? That's the ES. Let's get over to the NASDAQ and get you out of here. All right. Now let's look at this together. Okay? NASDAQ, remember, it filled the gap already. We're at the most traded price of the month. Now look at this. This is just a double distribution. You have a lot of volume here. So this is just a matter of when this thing's going to wick up. It's just a matter of time. Most traded price of the month. We're talking 257. We're back at the 257. I'm not sure if my boy MPH, Leo, MP, 007, he's got a million I mean, I can't even keep hold of these friggin' aliases this guy's got. But if he's in here, and we're all usually trading together, he knows. There it is. We just broke it. We just broke the highs. So, let's see what we do here. This is a big level. Okay? So, we know this is a big level. Most traded price of the year, most traded price of the month. We know it is. Overnight VPOC is right there. We have thin volume here. We're almost 85 to 90% net long. Big demand zone here. Big demand zone here. Let me see something here. That's something ain't right about this. That is not right. Oh, man. Hold on. I'm going to have to. I want to give you guys the proper data. Because right now, that is not correct. So I am going to give you the proper data. Okay. Just give me a sec while this loads up. Maybe what we could do right now, in the meantime, is show you the trade I took yesterday while that loads up. Here we go. Okay, you can see it right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. I think you can. Yeah, you can. There's my trade right there. I got about almost 13 points. Okay, that was at 105. So let's go into the 5-minute chart here. 105. See, it doesn't look as dramatic because I trigger in a 1 minute. So let's go to a 1 minute here. Yeah, right here. So see this accumulation, right? And then we pushed up here, and I was looking for a short here, and then it just fell. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to chase that. It really didn't give me much here, okay? And once we see these equal lows, that is a bear trap. That is a bear trap, okay? And look what we do. We sweep it, come all the way down. There's a fair value gap right here. Push up. Okay. And I got long. Where did I get long? 48 here. Right there. When we pulled back, I said, all right, there's a little fair value gap right here. If I was to draw it, check it out. Believe it or not, these 1 minutes are pretty powerful. Right there. See how we pulled back right into that bullish fair value gap? Boom. I got long right there, and then it powered. It powered up, whoop, right there. And then I waited, and I was like, I'm going to stay at my break even down here. and it held, and then it pushed up, and I got out around, what did I say I got out here? 68.61. So I got out of here because I remember this isn't combine. I'm trying to get funded for a second account. Okay. And right here, I was like, all right, I'm going to put my stop around here because I'm not giving that back. And look what it did. It pulled back and it winded up. I had my target up here somewhere, VWAP. This VWAP is wrong. That's not the right VWAP. And maybe I have this. Let me see something real quick. No. Okay. Anyway, so it would have hit my target, but it doesn't matter. I didn't want to give up those gains. And then, of course, you had the Trump news. Not just ripped it. I mean, been beautiful because look, my stop, original stop was actually the low of day. My stop was original stop was low of day, and then it just lifted off. So that's what I waited for. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys my trade. This thing is freaking still loading. You got to be kidding me. All right, so that was my trade. Now, if you guys want to see some of my stats just for this week, this month, so here, so pretty key here. Let's see if I'm blocking that. My block. This is getting cut off. Good profit factor. Only a 36% win rate. That don't matter. Average win to loss. I don't think you can see all of it. It is 220 to $228.26 average win versus a $59 loss. That is pretty good. The average win to loss. Profit factor 2.18. And you can see the equity curve there in my week. So last week, look, I only took, this is not accurate because this whole month was when I passed the combine. I passed it, I believe, this day. So that's that week. This is this week. One trade yesterday. All right. Now, I did have really big trades that I should have took. My setup came, I think, on here in this day. The short, almost all about that short, and it's okay. It's okay. So that's what's going on there. Now we can go back, and we can get out of here now. So I'm going to go back, and the data loaded. Now I apologize for that because I have a lot of workspaces open, and the what the heck? Why does it look the same? Oh, that was a waste of time. I'm sorry about that. That was a waste. For some reason, I thought it was not accurate, and it is. Okay. Let's get into it. All right. Let's go back. Sorry about that. Look, we made an overnight high. Now we wicked there. So that's where I think we can get some shorty scalps in. Most trader price, right? We're gapping up pretty big. That's what threw me off. I didn't think we were gapping up at that much, but we are. It's a pretty big gap. So you have to mark off the overnight right here, 25609. Gap fill 25496. And that's your demand here. Okay, thin volume here. Bullish for value gap here. Right? Yesterday, midpoint almost not inconsequential right now. So we're gapping up. Okay? And I have to say, these big gap ups like this are very hard to trade because the market has to digest this big gap up. Like I said, it's very difficult, and you're at a really difficult price, a price that can cause choppiness. Okay? A price that can cause choppiness. So we're going to get right into it. Let's break out the session. Now we have a wick. Sorry for the delay. Well, I got to explain my trade, I guess. All right. Let's look at it. Let's get into the scenarios here. Can't believe I thought the data was wrong. It wasn't. Okay. So, remember, bullish bias. All right. So, we're getting part of my bull scenario. Let's wick up, right? Fail. Boop. Take out this low volume. Go into the bearish bullish for value gap. You could do something like this. Get long. Attack the high a day or the overnight high, what this would be. And start trying to move up at least to the 258, this major supply zone, or the 25875 is about the most traded price of the rolling year. Okay? Now, just like the ES, if we just rip up, hit this supply, and start to just pull back and hold this, that's also a long. That's all I'm interested in. Now, shorts. Right here. Okay, we are 85 to 95% net long. We hit a major composite VPOC. Okay, the 257s. We're getting a wick. All I want to see is this take out maybe that swing low. Punch up into back retest. That's your short. Take out this thin volume here. Look at that thin volume. Now, I'd probably want to take profits in here for that scalp or that intraday move. I'm not going to be confident once it goes into this demand zone and this bullish for value gap. I'm not going to be very confident. Now, this could slice through it. Doesn't mean it can't. And you could target the overnight lows, the most traded price of yesterday. Now, if you break that most traded price of yesterday, oh boy, this could just free fall, folks. I don't know if that happens. Pretty big gap up at a major level. Okay? That's all I'm interested in. If we're all the way up here, maybe something, maybe. But that's it, folks. Sorry about that delay. I thought the data was wrong. It was not wrong. So, if you like that analysis, smash the like button. That would mean a lot to me. That would help out my channel. Okay? As always, come join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert, give you the market story, economic calendar, market news, leaders and laggards, bunch of technical analysis, and I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures. All right, now if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Click on the YouTube, go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay, should be live today again, dropping golden nuggets. Okay, I'm not sure who's in here, who can attest to that. But if you're in there, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'm not going to be swayed by price action. Okay? So come and join. If you don't, fine. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. And as always, remember, no trade is a position. Yesterday, I had no trade until I showed you my trade I took. And I took it at 1 o'clock. And what I'm finding is my new style of execution. I don't mind if it goes past 12 because I still have my setups. They still work. So I know in the past I might have been like, I don't know. Now the volume was still and tempo was good at that point. That's another reason. If it dies, yeah, you might get caught and chop. But we still had nice movements. All right. Now the difference now in the markets, the VIX is under 16. We're probably back in positive gamma, which is going to lower volatility today. It's going to lower the volatility. Okay? It's going to lower it. And that's more of the sell the rips, buy the dips environment when you're in positive gamma. Negative gamma, which we just were in, causes large swings in the markets because market makers and dealers have to sell with the market and have to buy with the market, which causes large swings. In a positive gamma environment, that does not happen. You sell rips and buy dips, and it's more controlled. The swings aren't as large. Now, a news catalyst can make that different, but whatever. All right? Everybody have a great day. If I don't see you in my Discord, I'll see you tomorrow morning.